Hello, I'm Danielle Smith, president of the Alberta Enterprise Group. I'm collaborating with Common Sense Calgary to interview candidates for the upcoming civic election in Calgary on October the 18th. And joining me now is your candidate for Ward 10, Roshan Chumber. Roshan, thanks so much for being with me today.
Thank you very much for having me.
Well, let's begin. Tell us a little bit about your background and why you think it makes you a good candidate for City Council.
Yeah, my name is Roshan Chumber. I'm a father, I'm a husband, and a long-time resident for Calgary Northeast. As a small business owner and a real estate professional for last 20 years, listening has been a key to my success, actually. I know how to listen first. I work with the hundreds of families and small business owners to help them grow and prosper. Community service is my passion, actually. I have been served as a chairman and a president on numerous of the community and charity boards because I believe in importance of giving back. So at this time, economics crisis, the city of Calgary and the Ward 10 actually, that's what we feel, is in a dire need of a strong leadership. We have the friends, neighbors without work for months, even years. We need to focus on what is important at this time actually, more money in the hands of people. So I believe that job of the councillor to be represent the Bard 10 residents, not just council activity back to the voter. So I talked over 5,000 Ward 10 residents and heard their concern. So I make my decision to run for the city council. So that's the reason I'm here as a candidate for Ward 10.
All right. Let's talk a little bit about some of the big issues on that you'd have to address once you're elected on spending and taxes, because the budget process is a huge issue for council members. Let's begin with the spending side of things. Do you think council or do you think the city is spending too much, too little, or about right?
No, actually, it has to be physically a responsible government. What we seen in the past, actually, a city operating budget basically it is out of control. So we have to be check on that and need to make sure we need to bring that into our controlled budget. So that's what we seen in past.
Let me ask you about some specific items with regard to wages, which is the biggest expense item for the city. So first of all, the pay that a council member gets with the transition allowance and the pension and the level of salary, do you think that council members are compensated fairly, or do you think that it should be cut?
Actually, that this I think we have to have the proper review on that. And we seen there is a over the budget going over there. So there's lots of money been going unnecessary, I think. So we don't mind for the fare whatsoever it will be, but we are feeling it is quite bit high when we compare to the city operating cost. So that's the reason we need to cut every corner because we are in economic crisis. So everything has to be in balance to recover our economy. So we prep for that way to be a review on that.
What about the senior administration and managers? Do you think the same approach should be taken there?
That's definitely. I have to look on that, and there is a lots of things we need to be look into, and we need to make sure that how we gonna be bring city budget into control because those are the areas specifically we need to look and carefully see how we can cut those things down.
Okay, now frontline is another area where the largest amount of wages are paid. We often see multi-year union contracts negotiated, and sometimes they're a bit out of step with what's happening in the general economy. Do you think that there needs to be a different approach to how we set frontline worker pay?
Actually, that this should not be the different approach. What we are looking actually, definitely we appreciate their service as a frontline. But I think we need to hire the more people when we look at the overtime kind of thing. So they have been paying highly on that side. So then we gradually, whatever the increasement, which is understandable, but when we all the residents have been struggling with the financial problems, right? So we have everywhere. So we need to look at that corner and see how we're going to be balance those all things. And we need to hire more people, just cutting down that the overtime kind of things we have been
Hmm.
paying on that things. Yeah?
All right. Let's talk a bit about how you pay for it all on the taxes side. So you mentioned you're a small business owner. Let's first talk about business taxes because there has been a tax shift that has happened with the downtown not being able to generate as much tax revenue as it has in the past. It was downloaded onto small business in the outside area. What are you hearing about that problem, and how would you fix it?
Actually, it is small to mid size business, so they are hit very badly. This is just COVID, but we even have it before that problem with the downtown. There is a vacancy rate is quite high, so we are having a struggle to fill up those vacancy in coming years. So as I heard about that, actually, that the tax there is a assessment kind of things that we have to be fixed with the prevention assessment kind of thing. The business actually we need to be really help them out with some kind of actually the previously the city also try to accommodate with some more time for the business taxes kind of things and some advantage for that when we are looking it is a kind of a big problem we seeing
Mhm.
because the law is not just built up in a year. So it has been years and years, more than 10 years, the city did not look at that problem. When they was developing in around the Calgary and surrounding the Calgary, because the property tax has to be looked way back in 10 years back, how they gonna be work on that because it's a system has been broken and
Mhm.
so now we are having a serious problem. If you can see, because last 10 years we all been developed about industrial space. We have about 1 million around. The tax, our tax problem that our county, neighboring county, they are getting benefit because of our tax
Mhm.
system been broken because their tax is lower and the investor and the everybody start going moving out from Calgary and doing the business in the neighboring county because they are saving quite a bit of money if they are operating the business from there. So city didn't look that before. So now we are in a really serious problem. So we have to be get this into control and we have to be come up with something the solid for the business community. Uh,
It's a g it's a good point. Part of what's happened now, though, is there's been a tax shift to residents. What are you hearing from residents about the level of taxes that they have? Do you think they can
eh,
afford to pay more?
oh, no, actually, this is actually, if you see last about 18 months, we are now in a financial crisis. Even though before the people, they are feeling that they are paying too much. So this will not be possible. So even though the previous council and, they try to explain that they are trying to educate the people that they are paying the lowest tax in the Canada, the city of Calgary, they are charging from them. But this is not the point
Mm.
we have to take because we need to look at seriously. The system basically it is broken. The tax system is broken the way they are assessing. So we need to correct that. It has to be equitable. The system we to solve this problem. Otherwise, it will not be.
Do you think there needs to be new taxes? Sometimes they talk about new taxation power, new sources of revenue. Do you think that's the solution?
No, definitely not. That will be the solution because the people we are not expecting anything to be burden at this time on the people's as a new tax or something like that.
Okay, let's talk about infrastructure spending. So there've been a couple of big ticket items that have been approved by the city, and I'm interested in knowing your thoughts on them. First of all, the Green Line (LRT) started off as a project that was going to be funded three ways, and it was going to be 40 kilometers, and it was going to be less than $5 billion. It's quite a different project now. Do you
Mhm.
think that it can be fixed, or do you think it should be scrapped?
I think first of all, is from start they did not have the complete homework when we are looking to that. So they just make the decision, the based upon the information administrative, they are just collecting the information and they are making the decision based upon that. That's the reason we are having some issue and the problem on the cost, the increasing cost, what we say. But on the other hand, when we are looking at the Calgary and it is very important for our city to these kind of the project for the growth for our city. So we need to be find a way where we can just complete it with the some of the addition if we have to do to cut the cost down. So then this is the way it will be, but it has we cannot just end this. So we have to develop this with some changes we may look to cut the cost if there will be something.
Okay, let me talk to you about four other projects because when they first came forward on the advice of the city CFO, they said they couldn't afford all of them, but they approved them all. I'm kind of curious to know if you were at the table, what would you have prioritized? So the four projects are the event center with the Calgary Flames, the BMO Center expansion for new convention space, the Arts Commons transformation, and the Foothills Fieldhouse. What do you think is the priority?
Yeah, actually, the this will be very tough decision when they make that. Again, I can say because they don't know what they have been looking at the table. So that was the first place, the wrong decision because they did not even understand what will be the cost occur on that and how that will be increased. So we have to be look and some of the major project we may need to be delay on that, like the arena kind of things, and that what you call that the art things. But I don't have enough information actually in front of
Okay.
me, or I did not get a chance to even look at what are the details of how much the cost of increasing in both and which one could be just a postpone or just a delay for some time until the recovery will be in a year and two. So
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about the housing issues in your community. When we talk about affordable housing, what are you hearing from your constituents? What's the biggest concern?
actually, the all over the Calgary, when we compare the Ward 10, this is the most of need for the affordable house. So my ward
Mm.
is very much in need of a more affordable house. So even though the city contribute very minimum on that side, so we need to work hard as a councillor. I will be work hard with the all level of the government to bring more projects for the affordable house. So the people really need these affordable house, and specifically in Ward 10,
Mm.
comparable to the other wards in Calgary.
So when you look at the issue of how you provide housing in Calgary, there's always this question of do you densify and build up, or do you build out with new greenfield? How do you look at that, and what do you think the balance should be?
Uh, I think it is built in probably the most benefit, I think, if we are looking, because cost wise and easy it will be. Because when we are looking the whole amenities and the services, those it is already in place, so we have a less cost wise kind of thing.
Was the guidebook for great communities, do people raise that with you? Because there has been some controversy around how you densify in some of the inner city communities. Has that been an issue for you?
Actually, the when things comes to the evaluation for the properties, when we are specifying the density for the property and we are comparing with the others, so if somehow that property is devaluing the other property, so then there is a really issue in that.
Hmm.
Other than that, I don't see anything, but this is a major issue.
Okay. Let me talk to you a bit about the economy and what needs to be done to get it moving again. First of all, do you have some thoughts on what should happen to downtown to fill that office space?
Yeah, actually, that is also very tricky one. So as the city start, they are just converting now office space to the residential space. So I think they already been start that, but there will be the more I can say that actually, we have to be deal with the small to medium business very carefully, and we need to give some kind of the relaxation on the tax and reducing the red tape kind of things, the
Mhm.
easy approval. So those areas in the business side, if we start looking. Then it might be help to bring the more business back to the community and back to the downtown. So this is very important. We have to be look more relaxation on the business side.
Okay, so reducing taxes, reducing red tape. What about giving direct grants or subsidies? The Calgary Economic Development was given $100 million to attract businesses. Do you support that kind of approach?
Yeah, that also be helpful for the small business to mid-sized business. Yeah.
Okay. Let's go through a few of the other issues that have come up in the last year, just to get your perspective on them. So, one issue that came up was a movement calling itself "defund the police." I want to know what that means to you and what you think we should learn from that.
Actually, the I will not be in favor of that because when things comes to the public safety, we cannot compromise anything like that,
Mm.
even fire, police. So this should not be like that. So I will not be, in favor of these kind of things. So this is the first. Our priority will be that the public safety because we, as the in my bar also we are feeling that the 911 respond. There is a more. We need to more investment in that area kind of thing. So emergency service, fire, and the police definitely there should be no place for a cut or anything like that.
Okay, let me deal with another aspect of policing, which is going to put more pressure on them. Is there was a discussion about reducing the speed limits in communities from 50 kilometers an hour down to 40 kilometers. Some even wanted to go down to 30 kilometers per hour. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think the 40 1,000 kilometer an hour. When I look at the numbers, whatsoever is happening, even though in areas there is some pedestrian been hit by the cars and really serious accidents got. The public safety again, actually, if there is something we need to be cut down the speed, and on other hand, saving the lives for the people. So I don't mind for that. So this will be the things to start with.
Okay, let's. There has been some discussion as well about what role the private sector should play in delivering public services. For instance, garbage collection, or golf courses, or even snow removal. What do you think about that? Do you think that the private sector could be used more for those types of services?
Yeah, actually, that looks at the cost and efficiency of the service. If somehow it's been improvement in that, and the city is saving some money, so that can be looked at as the option for that as well, right?
Okay. I have a couple more that I wanted to run by you as well. The public art spending program. There's been some controversies. The Big Blue Ring in North Calgary and in the west of the city, the Beaufort Towers. Now they've changed the way they do that program, but
Mhm.
do you think that addresses all the concerns, or do you think that that more needs to be done?
I think that there more should be done on that part. It was pretty much controversial. I understand that they try to fix that problem, but I'm looking. It's there is a more the on the decision table. I think city representation has to be there and make sure that the money and the decision when making it is in the right direction. So I think that part need to be looked at.
Okay, I want to ask you as well because there's a couple of issues that are going to be put to a public referenda in the fall, in conjunction with municipal elections. A couple are provincial, a vote on daylight savings time, a vote on equalization, but there is also a vote on fluoride in the water. I'm wondering how you look at those issues. Do you and your role in particular as an elected official, do you think that there are issues that should be put to the general public for a broad vote, or do you prefer to be taking the role of the representative and making all of those decisions yourself? How do you see it?
Actually, the public engagement is always better. So we get more, knowledge and see what the public they are thinking and how they are feeling it. It is always important in decision making if we are having some public engagement on that. So that's what it is.
Okay. A few more questions about the role of a public, sort of your role as the public representative, because when you get elected, you're elected as an independent, but you have to be able to get 8 votes in order to pass your agenda through. So, how would you approach that issue? How would you get people on side with you so that you could put some ideas forward?
Yeah, actually, as I am in a real estate profession for the last 20 years, so that's what I've been doing. So whatever I am the better negotiator on my skills I have, and whatever the issue I will be trying to. So I have a convincing power. I will, able to convince my colleague to be in, my whatever the issue I will be bring or on the table and to get their support, to gain their support.
Okay, one more question, because sometimes the city administration will put forward ideas that they say are better for the city as a whole, and your constituents might disagree. What would you do if you encountered that?
Actually, the reason for my candidacy and be a candidate for Ward 10 is because my ward has been neglected and ignored for last decades. I heard many issues. They have been suffering with the more than a
Hmm.
decade. So I will only be work for my residents and for my Ward 10. I am representing them actually in the council. So not just reporting them back as a part of my platform. So what I will do, it will be actually, the last 20 years as I'm a real estate profession, I done my business with the duty of care. So that's what my important role will be. I will look the best deal for the Ward 10. I will work hard on that, and there is no other way around it.
All right. Now, before I let you go, is there any other issues that you're campaigning on that we didn't talk about that you want to make sure people know that you're standing on?
Yeah, actually, the my Ward 10 resident actually looking for more investment in some of the areas where we probably missed that. So that is the number one is the quality of drinking water actually comparable to the other part of the city. But 10 resident really need some more investment in drinking water.
I
And
didn't know. I didn't know that there was a difference in the quality
yeah,
of drinking water.
yeah. So to improve that, and the snow removal, of course, it is the big issue in everywhere. But my comparable to the other wards, Ward 10 residents, they want more investment in the snow removal, disaster planning, and response. That is also Ward 10 residents. It's a issue, and we are looking more investment in that. So another one is a community service such as a sport for the community associations and non-profitable organizations. So those areas we are looking more to be invest in that. So that's the reason these are we missed, I think.
All right. Well, thanks for putting those on the table. Now, if people want to follow your campaign, I can see that your website is www.roshanchumber.ca.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for your conversation today. I sure appreciate your time.
Thank you very much, Daniel. Thank you very much for having me.
You, my pleasure. That's Roshan Chumber. He is your candidate for Ward 10.